This is a 3D video, but without glasses. I've experimented a lot with 3D animated photos, also known as wigglograms. But creating that same effect for video always seemed almost impossible. I spent months working on different prototypes, and I finally have some really interesting things to show you. This project forced me to look for solutions in the weirdest places. And it all started 10 years ago when I found a strange object on eBay. 10 years ago, I made a video about a vintage lens adapter called a beam splitter. The Stereax turned any lens into a stereoscopic system, capturing two images of the same subject with the exact spacing of human eyes. Since the beginning of stereoscopic imaging, there have been several ways to view the results in 3D. Option 1 is to use a viewer, like this one, originally made for stereoscopic glass plates. I also have a more modern version for watching stereoscopic videos. The second option is the cross-eyed method. This involves placing both shots side by side and physically crossing your eyes until a third 3D image appears in the center. It works fine for photos, but for video, it's a disaster. First, it's physically exhausting. Holding that muscle tension for the duration of a full video is a shortcut to a massive headache. Plus, this method isn't for everyone. Many people simply can't cross their eyes on command. Some other options vary from anaglyph glasses to 3D shutter glasses, if the video is made using interpolation methods. The final option is to create wigglograms. This turns a stereoscopic photo into a fast-paced flicker that reproduces the 3D effect without the need for any glasses. I've made wigglograms in the past using special attachments for photos, and it worked great. But I always wanted to try this for video. When you make a wiggle-gram from a photo, it's a simple loop. Frame A, then frame B, and loop. You align it once and you're done. But for video, it's a nightmare. To get the effect, you need to switch footage every 3 frames. That means 40 manual cuts and 40 manual alignments for just a single 5-second shot. It was so time-consuming that I actually gave up on the idea. But one morning, while brushing my toddler's hair, I had an idea. What if I made a comb? Here is how it works. First, I stack my 2 videos on top of each other and align the top layer to match the focus point. Then I create an empty video clip that is exactly 3 frames long. I clone this clip every 3 frames and link them together into one object. A sort of video comb. I copy this comb and paste it over my top video track to use as a cutting guide. And then I erase the comb. And now I have a perfectly spaced flickering switch between each eye. Now that I found a way to edit 3D wigglograms, I just need to find the best way to record them. One way to record stereoscopic videos is to place 2 identical cameras side by side. To test this, I used 2 very similar cameras, an FX3 and an A7 III, connected by a magic arm. I used the same lens on both, a vintage Industar 50mm. I was ready for the first test using my comb method. But there are some massive limitations. A dual camera rig is a logistical nightmare. It doubles the weight of your setup, making handheld shooting almost impossible. You need a very strong tripod. Then there is the physics. If one camera shakes even 1 mm more than the other, the 3D effect breaks. You also have to match the colors and settings perfectly. If one lens isn't calibrated exactly like the other, you lose the effect. Finally, there's the interaxial distance. Because lenses are centered on the camera body, you can't get the lenses close enough. Human eyes are about 65mm apart, but a side-by-side rig often forces a distance of 100mm or more. Anything closer than 5 or 6 meters becomes a nauseating double vision mess. To make this experiment work, I need to control the exact spacing between the two lenses. So I revisited the solution I found 10 years ago. And this time I used the Pentax stereo adapter. This is a little beam splitter from the film era. And it solves almost every problem the dual camera rig created. While the two camera setup was very heavy, this tiny adapter is incredibly light. It simply threads onto the front of your lens. Suddenly, I'm not operating a rig anymore. I'm just holding a camera. It's so lightweight I can shoot handheld for hours. Unlike two cameras forced apart by their own size, this beam splitter uses mirrors to bring the two perspectives together to match the exact interaxial distance of human eyes. The 3D effect feels natural. You aren't limited to filming subjects across the street. You can actually get closer. It turns a technical headache into a creative tool. No sync issues, no heavy rails, just pure natural 3D on a single sensor. But it's far from perfect. First, because the two images are sharing the sensor 50-50. It means that you can't have a 16:9 final result. Second, because the mirror separation in the center of the frame, you get darker edges that create a strong flicker effect. To make the effect work, you need depth layers. The system works best when you have a clear foreground, middle ground, and background. Your brain needs those reference points to calculate the distance between the eyes. The biggest mistake you can make while recording is too much movement. While it's tempting to move around because the rig is so light, heavy shaking or fast panning will destroy the effect. A tripod is still your best friend. A static frame is almost always the best way to showcase 3D. I think this effect could be amazing for music videos or even movies to show a character reliving a memory. It could also be used for travel documentaries to make a location feel more immersive. So what's next? I want to redo the experiment with two cameras, but with a better rig to make it more portable. I also want to find a way to use a larger beam splitter to get better resolution on a single camera. And finally, I want to try the same effect but with anamorphic lenses. If you have any advice on the gear I should use, please leave a comment below. If you're more into lenses with insane swirly bokeh, you might want to check this out. After more than 10 years of testing strange and beautiful vintage projector lenses, I've finally gathered everything I've learned into one complete guide. It's called the Projector Lens Handbook, a 130-page ebook packed with my best advice for getting incredible swirly bokeh and unique cinematic images using cheap forgotten lenses. Just click the link in the description to grab your copy. Oh, and if you are a channel member, you get 30% off.